Welcome back to Corn Trials. Today we're going to sail on the Catawba Queen on Lake Norman. Let's set sail.
Became a river. In times past, as it meandered through the Piedmont, spring rain sometimes overflowed its red banks, but no protest was offered. The Indians were as used to its ebb and flow as they were to the bears lumbering through wild pea vines and deer and buffalo grazing in the grass. The Indians called it Eswa-Terala, the Great River. In their own language, they were the Catawba, the people of the river. The river, a seemingly unending source of water, fish, game, and pottery clay, was named after the people who lived by it, the Catawba. While the Catawba Indians lived in harmony with the river, their relationships with neighboring tribes were anything but tranquil. One horrendous day-long battle ended with 1,100 Cherokee and 1,000 Catawba warriors killed, and no territorial disputes ever solved. When the settlers arrived along the banks of the river, it proved disastrous to the Indians. Smallpox and other European diseases reduced the Catawba Indian nation from 5,000 strong in the 1600s to less than 400 in 1775. The settlers built cabins and farmed the land along the riverbanks. Ardent believers in God, education, and freedom, they took dim view of English meddling in their affairs. These pioneers faced enough problems without paying one new British tax after another. Before long, the settlers were drawn into a bitter and bloody conflict with the Crown. An important local skirmish of the American Revolution took place at Cowan's Fort on the Catawba River on February 1st, 1781. General Charles Cornwallis tried to cross the muddy Catawba River in pursuit of victory, but Brigadier General William Lee Davidson and his scrappy band of Catawba Valley farmers were waiting for him. Recent rains had swollen the Catawba. The ford was rocky, and the water, at its shallowest, was waist deep. The Americans proved to be fine marksmen as the British struggled against them. Early in the battle, General Davidson suffered a gunshot wound near the heart and fell from his horse into the riverbank. The Americans held their ground, and the British were successfully delayed, and the time gained allowed the American army to escape. General Davidson was a popular young general, and a monument honoring him is located near the present site of Cowan's Ford Dam, the southern boundary of Lake Norman. The exact location of General Davidson's demise is under the waters of Lake Norman near the east end of the dam.
No one living in the Catawba River Valley ever forgot the Great Flood of 1916. They watched trees tumble off the riverbanks and snakes scramble for higher ground. The Catawba River, already swollen from heavy rains, turned into a raging torrent on July 16th. The river rose 54.9 feet in 2 days, killing more than 50 people. Lake resident Bill Cale remembered watching a barn float by with chickens still sitting in their nests. Rebuilding would be a slow and painful process. The Southern Railway system began the arduous task of replacing dozens of bridges and countless miles of track. A Duke power plant 18 miles below Charlotte was out of commission for 6 months. The entire Buffalo Shoals Bridge was demolished. Ferries replacing the bridge operated for 2 years until a new bridge could be constructed. The Catawba had unleashed its diabolical fury on a bewildered people. The river that had given them power to improve their lives, fish for their dinner tables, and a pleasant reprieve from the workday world had become a rampaging enemy they would not soon forget.
In 1957, Duke Power Company began a study that would become Duke Power Company's final dam on the Catawba River. James B. Duke began buying Catawba River land. 33,000 acres were purchased. Homes, family farms, and entire towns would end up underwater. The village of Long Island, once a bustling river town with 3 textile mills, would be completely submerged. Buildings had to be dismantled and moved, churches and cemeteries relocated. Of the 70 roads affected, half became dead-end routes, while the other half were rerouted or raised above water level. New bridges had to be built, but Bill Lee, who had designed the dam on Lake Norman, an avid sailor, tried to minimize these since they would hinder the progress of a sailboat. Some landowners who refused to sell traded their fertile farms for pine forests that would front the future lake. Worthless land, said some. Others put off making a decision until the last possible moment, finding it hard to believe their land would eventually be flooded. These negotiations were always delicate, sometimes thorny. Groundbreaking began the entire...
That is the house of the first president of the Charlotte Motor Speedway. That beige house was once home to Burt Reynolds. This is Kaiser Island. That is Kurt Busch. Used to be Kurt Busch's house. The second floor has an infinity pool dropping into the wading pool below it. The gray house with the white columns is used to be home to a NASCAR driver who's the first to move off the lake because he got so tired of people coming up to his dock. This brown home with four white columns is home of a NASCAR truck racer who got inducted into NASCAR Hall of Fame.
Actually, in the basement of that house, a seaplane that he pulled out and flies on the lake. Wow.
Of the lake. We saw lots of cool houses and we saw a great view of the lake. Stay tuned for more Corn Travels. Bye.